So I look after 3 nursing homes, and in those nursing homes, we've got quite a number of residents. Each of the homes have got managers. So what I would normally do is to go into the homes, walk around the homes, discuss any issues that are happening in there. Support my managers. But what's changed with COVID really, because I am the most senior nurse, all the issues to do with the infection control, interpretation of the guidance, adherence of the guidance, is flung across to me, and how that's applied in the nursing homes. So what I would do every day, we had a meeting at 8:30, a business continuity meeting every single day at 8:30. Report on what's happening in the homes, communication. So I'll work with the comms team, getting the information out, making sure it's worded to the understanding of all colleagues in the business, because sometimes the guidance comes in and really it's not layman's terms. You really have to still pass on the message, but it has to be in a format that everybody can understand it. So it's all that discussion with health and safety, with our comms department, with our assets teams, because we'll have things like compliance checks that need to be done, checking of equipment that regularly needs to be done, like lifts or beds and so on. So what's important now, what's not important is, those decisions, they're all in discussion with me, because I'm the clinical representative. So the first few weeks of this was full on. When all this was happening, I went into not a panic mode. I immediately thought we need to put some measures, some controls now. Now at that time, to be fair to my colleagues, who aren't nurses, it seemed like I was a little bit over the top, because very early on I wanted signs put up for hand washing. I wanted desk equipment wiped down. I wanted temperature checks are started right from the off. This is what's happening there before it even had come into Wales. Sourced thermometers, infrared thermometers, already came up with a plan of this is how we're going to defend ourselves from this. But I did always say to my colleagues, it will come to us. However, we will not be caught just waiting for it, and hopefully the impact will not be as bad. One thing for sure is, in my nursing homes, we will treat it like we've got C. difficile, or we've got DMV, or we've got some outbreak of infection. So we're going to just shut down and put out our infection control guides just like that. So in that area, I just started mapping out what I thought we needed to do, from even laundering. People would come in wearing their uniforms from home. So I said, no, you leave your uniforms in work, you come in your clothes, and we launder our uniforms in work. Initially, of course, people are going to have a little bit of resistance. I wash my uniform in my detergent like this, and I do it properly, and I had all that initially, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, these are our uniforms and you wear them here. But the point was, nobody knew what was coming. So there wasn't really a right and a wrong. It's not that I was right. I wasn't any more right than the next person. All I was trying to do at that time is to try and think of the worst case scenario, and just think, what could we do to look after ourselves? And of course, everybody had a different idea of what we needed to do. But I think having the guidance come out was a start, but it was really no good for care homes. Each year we have a campaign put out there for flu, right? There's there's a promotion for flu vaccinations and measures you should take, stop the spread of flu. So care homes ordinarily are prepared for this, in terms of flu. Well, I say prepared, you do know when flu season is coming around. So we just come out of flu season. So for me, it was like going back into that mode again. What do we do when we are in flu season? Only that there's no vaccination for this. And only that the symptoms are not as obvious as other symptoms for other diseases out there. In fact, the longer we got to know this disease, the more innocuous the symptoms were, in the sense that people are like saying, well, I lost my sense of smell and taste and so on, things like that, the fatigue and so forth. So, yes, it was a busy time. My role changed literally the day of the lockdown. I think prior to lockdown, I was in preparation of something that I thought would be a very bad case of flu. We had entertainers that had booked work. This wonderful mother and baby group that would come in on Fridays with babies, and that intergenerational work was just amazing. So they were booked in. So it was very difficult when we started to sort of say, please don't come into our homes, but there was no declaration from the government, nothing. So you're sort of going on your own, and people are saying, well, this is my livelihood, you're cancelling us. And you're kind of thinking, well, we don't know what this thing looks like, so we need to keep safe. When they announced we were going to go in lockdown, my first thought, this boy here.
Yeah.
So I reached out to him and I asked him if he'd been watching the news. I think after 3 days I got a response initially. So I was getting more desperate because I couldn't get hold of him and I was worried.
That's when I was ill, wasn't it?
Yes.
I was really ill and I was meant to go out, but I said I was too ill for that. Then he had his sister come up and I was still too ill to go out with them. Then I was meant to go down from Newcastle to Leeds to do Otley Run. We were going to be dressed up as wizards and I'd sent money, bought the costume. But when it got to the weekend, I just had to say, I literally cannot move. I don't know why I feel so ill, but I just can't do it. Wednesday all the way till the next week, Tuesday, I think. I just was bedbound.
I didn't know he was poorly. I didn't know he was poorly. So I was just looking for him, thinking, oh, he's asthmatic. That's what was worrying me. I thought, he's going to be careless with himself. He's not going to be washing his hands. And oh no, if he's ill, then I started imagining the lockdown and I can't go to him and he's poorly because I'd seen what had happened in China. So that's what I was imagining for Nyash, and I thought, oh no, he's got to come home.
It took a while because I think when we spoke about it, so when I spoke with housemates and just normal mates about it at uni, none of us really thought it would be that bad.
Yeah.
So although we expected it to come to the UK, we sort of thought it would almost be like maybe the swine flu or Ebola crisis where you don't have lockdown, but people in this country have it, but it's not something that whereby we have lockdown until I think cases started picking up, and then I think it became a bit more real when I think the first people they detected to have it in the country were taken to I think it was the RVI in Newcastle, which is obviously right by the campus. So
okay.
Yeah, it was a bit more real after then. And then I was like, okay, I should probably start preparing to go home now. I think part of it though was how it was portrayed in the media here, because it almost created this sort of false sense of security. So a lot of people aren't really weren't really at the time taking it seriously, although, you know, advice was given not to do stuff. People will obviously still do it. You know, just because you say to someone, don't do it, they'll still do it unless it is put down in word or law. You cannot at all. Which is why I remember when we were talking about it at uni, we were saying that they should just lock it down, because saying that, you know, they're delaying it and people are just going to do what they want until it happens.
Somebody makes a decision. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was a key turning point.
It changed the
That
mindset.
It did.
People, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the first few days I was terrified. I was, the routines I had were crazy because I still had to go to work. And one of our homes, after pushing and pushing and pushing to get testing done, because people were just reporting symptoms, and there's no testing in the nursing homes, and we'd started this checking of temperature thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, I had, before they even announced the 37.8, I had my own temperature thing that we were using in the nursing homes. I think I was saying anything 37.4, I think I went with. I said 37.5. I said, well, normal body temperature really average 36.9, 37. If you're starting to be 37.2, you're coming down with something. 37.4 for an adult, you're definitely not great. You know, so that was my reasoning. So we're using 37.4 as our standard. And as people were falling ill, it was clear that, you know, they were just hitting that, you know. And then 37.8 came, you know, that also helped me. At least there was something in writing. But coming home was always a scary thing, because I'll start from the door, send the kids upstairs to the room, because I'm coming in and I've come from an environment where, you know, you just don't know. I'll go straight into the shower, have a full shower, my towel, clothes, everything bundled straight into the washing machine, go back down. I have this crazy routine. Wash down the doorknob, the door handle, the handrail, all the way up, everything, the toilet, everything, and then the kids were allowed to be out. So it was a crazy routine, but I think I also got that really early on in one of the homes where there's no social distancing at that time being said, and people are sort of standing in corridors talking. And but I think the saving grace was I wasn't nearly as ill as Nyasha was. It's just a bit of coughing, but the headaches and the sweating.
Yeah.
The sweating was unbelievable. Had to, after a couple of nights, I changed bedrooms. I was just drenched in sweat. But I think the worst bit is the fatigue. Just feeling tired. I was just feeling tired. I kind of feel there's an opportunity to promote self-care at that time that was kind of lost.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that whole vitamin D, zinc, and just, you know, be in the best health as you possibly can be in at a time like that. You know, hydration of, but it was never going to stop you getting corona, but you've got a little bit of a chance sometimes if you're, you know, a little bit fitter, but it wouldn't stop it. However, I think it is a contributory factor because of the inequalities in health. What's become very clear is that people who are living a more sort of socially, economically deprived life have been hit hardest. So I don't know. I really don't know. But I think there's a lot that can be said really about how we are in society in terms of health inequalities. There's an opportunity to look at people's diets from different ethnic groups, whether there's something there about that, because diabetes is quite prevalent amongst black people and people from Southeast Asia and so on. I just think up and down the country, that is likely to be the pattern. Yeah. Is that although COVID spared nobody, including our Prime Minister, however, your chances of survival is where the inequality can kind of comes, and I think in this time it should have allowed people to really think about what's really important. Where is the investment really going? Is it going in the right places? So if something can affect us all indiscriminately, surely we have to now start thinking about each other in a lot better way than we have been. We had got to a place where it's a bit of dog eat dog and kind of aggressive way of trying to make a living. It's relentless. There's no stopping. There's no space to breathe. There's no coming up for air. Travel is cheaper. It's quicker. We talking about, what is it? G5? What do they call it? Mobile phone. Enhanced service.
5G.
5G. There you go. Call it G5. That's what we're talking about. Everything's and then stop. Just all of you stop. Well, I think for us in K, not much will change. I think what for the profession in itself, I don't think much will change. Even if we know we've had it, we won't know how long immunity lasts for. So if I've had it and I've got immunity now, does that mean I've got immunity next year? Is immunity only for 6 months? What if a variant of it comes in, like the flu? I'm someone who likes to live their best life. I just know we're not here forever, and our impact as human beings is greater, I think, when we live our best life. It's a personal view, I guess. I think there's much to be said about what life offers us, and there's just too much to try and fight everything. It's exhausting. It just sounds exhausting to me. But of course, I wouldn't want to be careless and cause harm to somebody who wants a different type of life. So I wouldn't be cavalier and go and do something negligently because I don't mind if I have it or don't have it. Yeah. Because I don't want somebody who's to make that decision about their life being impacted by my behavior. However, I still want to live my best life. If a vaccination comes, great. I really think it's great. If a vaccination doesn't come, we just continue to live carefully. Yeah. But to live.
Yeah, we have to live that way.
Yeah.